Welcome back to Grassroots Media. Welcome back to this week's edition of the Marathon QuickStops Eddie Spradlen Show, where we cover everything on the field with the Greeneville Greene Devils football team. As always, I'm joined here with head coach Eddie Spradlen. Back here inside of beautiful Burley Stadium. Coach, how we doing today?
Good, man. It's always good when you can be here and be 1-0.
That's also true. It's also good to be out here on a hot Monday afternoon to talk about that win also.
Yeah, 90 degrees, baby.
I thought we were done with the 90-degree weather, but here we are. It's going to be 90 almost every day this week, but the good news is once you get down to Friday, I think it gets a little cooler when you go under the lights to play Dobyns-Bennett, a big game that we'll talk about later on. But first week of action, you got a win over Tennessee High here at Burley Stadium. Started off the season, scored 33 in the first half. Started out great, ended great, came out with a big win. How great did that feel?
It felt really good. First off, what a great atmosphere here on Friday night, for a home opener in Burley Stadium. Stadium looked good. There's been a lot of people put a lot of work in to making sure this place looks really good. Then we had a great crowd to come out. We brought out some new chrome green helmets on Friday night, which was really exciting, walking through the stands and seeing those kids and kids fired up, young kids. It was really something special.
And I know the score being 54-7, you scored them 33 in the first half. Something that we've always talked about that it seems like Greeneville has a knack for is you start out early, you get that big lead, and then you kind of cruise on from there out. You had a great breakout performance from Caden Ball, first-time starter as a varsity quarterback at the high school level. And then you have, of course, another big game from Carson Quillen. That duo produced a lot of your offensive yards. We'll go through their stats real quick. Caden Ball, 7 for 10 passing for 118 yards, had more rushing yards with 147, had 4 total touchdowns, 1 rushing, 3 passing. And then Carson Quillen didn't get the yards he's used to, but my goodness, he got the touchdowns he's used to. He had a trio of touchdowns. He had 6 rushes for 35 yards, 2 touchdowns there, and then 2 receptions for 36 yards and a touchdown. Couldn't do it without those two on offense. Talk about how great it was to see them. To see Carson step on the field and not skip a beat and then have a great first start from Caden.
Yeah, it was really, really good to see that on Friday night. Like you said, you got 2 guys back there that are explosive football players. Every football team that comes in here, their goal is going to be to contain Carson Quillen. He's the best player that steps on the field on Friday night. He's a returning All-State player. He's Division I baseball commit. They're going to put their eyes on him. So what does that do on Friday? It opened it up for Caden. Caden did a great job running the football. Me and him talked before the game. I said, don't try to do too much in the passing game. If it's not there, just take it down and run. And I don't know that, he probably got 2 or 3 design play calls running the football. But with our offense, he did a great job reading the zone, as well as when something went there, he had 2 big scrambles that got great yards because he was just being smart with the football. If we can limit, we don't have turnovers on Friday night, I think we got a chance to win every Friday night we got, to play a game.
And then we talked about how he had 118 passing yards. A lot of those went to Zayden Anderson. He had 4 catches for 57 yards. Didn't get into the end zone on either of those 4 catches, but Zayden is a player that we talked about was going to be explosive on the outside. He's more than likely going to be your number 1 receiver in a lot of those games that you play this year. Talk about how much you like seeing that connection between Caden and Zayden in the first game of the year.
Yeah, really good. He was explosive when he caught the ball. He hit a lot of short stuff. He's a guy that we're going to stretch, obviously we want to try to stretch the field with. But out there at receiver, we got 5 or 6 guys rotating in right now that are all really good, explosive players that special things happen when they get the football. With us right now, we're a big play offense, have that capability, but we're able to, with Carson, if you want to just pound on people, and, our offensive line did a great job coming off the ball, and Carson's a guy that can pound on you as well, but, he's got a chance. If he gets a crease, he's going to be gone as well, but big play offense, it's hard to get everybody the touches they want to get on Friday night. So
that's true.
Those guys were unselfish on Friday, did a really good job blocking that receiver. I know a couple times Caden kept the football, and one time he scrambles, you see Carson down the field making a big-time block. It's just unselfish offense. If we want to be as good as we can be, that's what it's going to take. Because, like I said, you putting drives together, 5-play, 2-play, 1-play drives. You're not giving me opportunities for those guys to touch the football. I think in the first half we touched the football 22 times, and 5 of those were with 30 seconds left in the half when we're trying to move the football down the field. So against their prevent defense. So limited number of times, but those guys made the most of every opportunity they got.
I hadn't done the percentage, but I'd like to see the amount of plays that ended up in the end zone out of the amount of plays that you had the whole game. It's a pretty good percentage.
Yeah. Especially there in the first half. I don't know. We had to score at least 6 times in the first half because, Carson and Caden didn't play any in the second half. So, we got in the end zone a lot in that first half, so it was really exciting. That first quarter took forever.
It seemed like it did. Want to go through those scoring logs too. It started off with a 3-yard rushing touchdown from Carson Quillen. Then he had a 7-yard rushing touchdown to put you up 14-0. Then Caden got his touchdown from 1 yard out to put you up 20-0. Then Carson had a big 28-yard receiving touchdown, put you up 27-0. Then Caden running around a little bit more with a 20-yard touchdown on his feet. That put you up 33-0. You allowed 1 score, and that's the only score you allowed all game. And we'll get into the defense in just a second too, because there were some great performers on defense that you had the other night. And then after that, you had another big touchdown from Caden Ball on his feet, 56 yards. Might be his career long up to this point, I would say.
Good scramble there.
40-7. And then C.J. Reyes with a fumble recovery touchdown that also went 56 yards to put you up 47-7. And then Kane Ricker coming in at the end of the game and scoring a 13-yard rushing touchdown to set the final score at 54-7. I want to talk about those defensive plays, though. You had one big player that stands out more than the rest in C.J. Reyes. His stat line, he had 8 tackles, 1 assist, 2 tackles for loss, that fumble recovery that went back for a touchdown. But 2 other players that have something in common with him that also had big games. They all 3 led you in tackles, and they all 3 had all 3 of your fumble recoveries. That's C.J. Reyes, Drew Armbrister, and Brandon Iezzi. Talk about how crucial all 3 of those players were on defense.
Yeah, those are big-time players. One of the things we question, one of our big questions at the start of the year, what we want to do at defensive end. You talked about it before. You graduate guys like Bryson Myers and Zach Crispin at defensive end that's been down there for 2 or 3 years. I think Bryson started there for 3 years and played some as a freshman, and Zach started there 2 years, and his sophomore year started at defensive tackle. So, guys that play a lot of football. So who's going to step into those roles? We did a good job with, CJ had a tremendous game, flying around, making plays. It's hard for people to block him. He's just big. He's 210, 15 pounds, athletic. He's one of, we come out here and we're going to time some flies today running. He's going to be one of the top times. It's just how athletic he is. And, Quentin Humphrey stepped in there and played really good as well, caused one of them fumble recoveries. Offensively, we were able to get those. And, you talk about Carson didn't have as many rushing yards. He got the short end of the field a lot of times in his rushes. He had a long rush after a touchdown or after a turnover when big Quentin Humphrey punches it out. Brandon Iezzi recovers it there on the 10-yard line. Then Carson punches it in. Then after another touchdown, we punch it out on kickoff. And then Carson catches one down the sideline. So, all of them guys stepped in there and did a great job. Drew Armbrister, can't say enough about what he does for this football team. He's the brains of the defense, gets everybody lined up. We were trying to do some stuff, moving the D-line. We thought it was going to give them a lot of trouble. And him getting everybody lined up and doing things was really big for us on Friday night.
Wanted to talk about their stat lines, too. You go through here and look. Of course, CJ led you with 8 tackles and 1 assist. Drew had 7 tackles and 5 assists. Brandon had 6 tackles and 2 assists. They all had, 2 of the 3 had tackles for loss. So CJ had 2, and then Brandon also had 2, and then each had a fumble recovery. You talk about those fumble recoveries. That's one thing that I think a lot of defensive coaches harp on a lot is you've got to force those turnovers, and you were able to do that, forcing 5 fumbles, I think, total, and you recovered 3 of those. You didn't get any interceptions, but being able to force 5 fumbles and recover 3 of those, as you said, that helped you a lot on offense because they gave you a shorter field to work with. You didn't get the offensive stats that you wanted on the end, only having, I think, 313 total offensive yards, but that defense forcing those 3 turnovers and allowing them to less than 200 at an exact 184, the defense did a really great job.
Yeah, really good. We played really fast on defense. We give up 1 drive there in the first half, and we let them get on the scoreboard. But we had we called a pressure right there off the end, and it should have been a tackle for a loss or a sack right there. And the quarterback gets around him, barely gets in the end zone on 4th down. So, really proud of how hard we played defensively, but it's somewhere we continue to grow at. Able to call some turnovers, get off the field quick. I was really proud of how hard they played. if we can play like that, and we're not, you talk about Brandon, played a ton, probably played more snaps than anybody on my football team, because him and Zayden Anderson are probably really the two most, and Zorian Harris played a ton of snaps, are playing the most just because they're two-way starters. We're trying to limit those guys that, Carson didn't play but maybe 5 plays on defense. We're trying to let him just be on offense and see how special that can be. So, but those guys continue to play hard. We got a lot of guys that played a lot of snaps. We're still finding those puzzle pieces. The more people that I can play, that there's no drop off, I'm going to play them. Especially Friday night, we're playing a school that's got almost 3,000 kids go to school, where there's 900 go to school here. There's a little more. They're not going to dress any freshmen. I'm going to dress everybody. I'm going to have 75, and they're going to have more than we got, just dressing sophomores through seniors. So a lot of kids in that program. But it'll be a big challenge. Then you throw in, like you're talking about, 90-degree heat. So we got to have a lot of guys ready to go on Friday night.
Good news is it'll be here.
Yeah.
It'll be Burley Stadium. You mentioned it at the beginning of the interview. It's good to sit down and be 1-0 when we do this first interview, and it'll be even better to go 2-0. But
sure.
We'll talk about what you got to do in order to do that right after this break. We'll talk about their upcoming game against Dobyns-Bennett here in Burley Stadium right after we cut to this break here on Grassroots Media.
At Corner Pond, the friendly and knowledgeable staff has the experience necessary to help you out regardless the need. Have an item of value you'd like to pawn or sell? Corner Pond can help. They pawn numerous items of value, including firearms, tools, ammunition, silver, coins, and much more. When you walk through their doors, you'll find well-stocked shelves full of electronics, gaming systems, fishing and hunting equipment, car audio and accessories. And don't forget about the room full of guitars and basses and amplifiers, or their outside lawn and garden equipment. Corner Pond is a case knife dealer and carries numerous used knives as well. Stop by and let the friendly staff at Corner Pond help you today at 432 East Bernard Avenue, Greeneville, Tennessee. For more than 30 years, Tommy's Plumbing has served customers in East Tennessee with licensed and professional plumbing services. From installing your new faucet to replacing your existing piping system, our team at Tommy's Plumbing is trained to handle the job with professionalism, attention to detail, and integrity. By offering warranties on most products installed by our technicians, Tommy's Plumbing stands behind our work, ensuring that your plumbing needs are not only met, but that your problem is solved for the long term. When you need reliable and professional plumbing service, Tommy's is the only call to make. So give us a call today and let us show you the Tommy's difference.
Welcome back to Grassroots Media. Welcome back to this week's edition of the Marathon QuickStops Eddie Spradlen Show, where we cover everything on the field here at Burley Stadium with the Greeneville Greene Devils. As always, I'm joined here with head coach Eddie Spradlen. So we talked about it just a bit before the break. You've got Dobyns-Bennett coming in here to Burley Stadium on Friday night. Big time matchup. I think it's one of the more competitive games that you'll see all year. You're playing a higher classified opponent, as you said, with almost over 3 times the amount of kids you've got in your school. It was a close game last year. Unfortunately, weather had a different mindset than we had. Didn't get to finish the game. Ended at 14-14, but hopefully the radar holds off as of right now. Looks like we'll be clear, but it will be 90-degree heat. So talk about what you're preparing for on Friday night when you take on Dobyns-Bennett.
Obviously we're going to be ready for a big-time football game. Got a really good Dobyns-Bennett team that got a big win over Farragut on Friday night. So it'll be a big-time challenge for us, but a challenge that we're excited about. Like you said, it's one of the top 4 teams on our schedule this year. We're playing Dobyns-Bennett, Alco, Elizabeth, and then Morristown West. You get the guys are going to be excited for those games. So when you talk about football in East Tennessee, Dobyns-Bennett football is the one you're going to mention. They got over 800 wins in the program, so really excited. They bring a lot of people. Be a big-time playoff atmosphere on Friday night, but they're a really good football team, a physical team. Got a great offensive line, big offensive line, so it'll be a big challenge for us.
What do you expect on their offense? Is it kind of the same as what you expected last year when you took them on in Kingsport?
Yeah, last year we didn't play our best football when we went up there. We didn't play very good offensively. Then we got the momentum in the second half, and then the Lightning came. We played the whole second quarter and majority of the first quarter without Emmanuel Dixon. He was sick and, was in the locker room trying to get him back out there. He, played the second half, but didn't play our best football. But, it made us a better football team. Regardless of the outcome on Friday, we'll be better for playing them in the long run. Ultimately we want to be the best football team we can be when it gets November, but we want to win on Friday night. So, we got to be in great shape. We got to push these kids hard during the week at practice and be ready for a physical football game.
Do you expect them to be more pass heavy, run heavy, or kind of a balanced offense?
I think they're going to be pretty balanced right now. They want to run the football, but they got some athletes out there on the edge that they want to get it to. They got a really good tight end H-back that was probably their best player that they got the football to. Probably the reason they won the football game on Friday night, the things he did catching the ball. So we got to make sure we know where he's at all the time, and really excited about that opportunity. But really good on defense. Like I said, they're going to fly the football, so it'll be another big challenge for our offense.
What are some of those defensive schemes you expect to see? More 3 down, more 4 down?
Yeah, they're based out of a 3 front. Got a big old nose that they like to play in there, but they'll slide a guy down and give you a 4 front look too. I talked to somebody this morning on a podcast, and they were talking about, defensively, what are you kind of based out? Do you 3 or 4? I think everybody's got to be kind of multiple now. They're going to be based out of 3-4, but you got to be able to do different things. Just how the games change. It's not many teams just going to, if we just stay in our forefront and people just pound on it and try to throw on us, it's going to be able to, you're going to get some things open. So you got to be able to throw different things at them. So we're going to continue to be simple on offense and defense, but we're going to have a lot of different variations of the same things that we do to make us have a better opportunity to be successful.
Same question at the end of our interview. Going into the game against Dobyns-Bennett this Friday night, what are your 3 keys to the game?
One, we got to be able to, we can't give up any big plays. Friday night we were able to eliminate those big plays that Tennessee High was able to get. We got to make sure we don't give up big plays against them. You can't get a football team like that excited. They get excited, they'll be hard to handle. We got to be able to stop the run. I said that, or at least control the run, not necessarily stop it. But they can't be able to just continue to move the chains on us by running the football. We've got to be able to get off the field on 3rd down. You got a big offensive line. They're going to probably rely on it some. The quarterback runs it good, so it's going to be a tough scheme for us to stop. But we got to be able to limit that run game for them. Hold them under 100 yards rushing for sure. And then the most important probably for us offensively, we can't turn the football over. And, in a big game like that, if you don't turn the football over, probably that means it's just you're moving the football. And we got to get off we can't be, like we said, we got to get them off the field on 3rd down. We got to continue to move the ball on 3rd down for us. The other night, I think we just had 2 3rd downs in the game, and those are probably in the second half. So, really played. We're able to move the chains a lot in the first half, so we got to continue to do that.
It'll be an exciting game on Friday night for sure.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And as we said last week too, yes, and as we said last night too, if you plan on coming to the game and you want to get a seat, come early. We told you to come early last week. Come earlier.
Yeah.
Because if you want a seat, it will be packed. Because as you said, Dobyns-Bennett likes to bring a lot of their fans too.
Got a big time band that they bring as well, so it'll be a packed house. Last time, I believe they come down here, they were standing room only, so they were packed out everywhere. So we look forward to that on Friday night as well.
What time do the gates open?
I believe they open them at 6.
Okay.
Kick off at 7:30.
So if you want to get here and get a seat, be here by 5:30.
Yeah.
Because there might be a line at the gate whenever the gates open. But until then, Coach, best of luck this Friday night.
Appreciate it, man.
Against Dobyns-Bennett. It'll
Go
be an exciting
Devils.
game. Go Devils for sure. We look forward to seeing that game on Friday night. It will be on TV also.
Oh, yeah.
It will
It's
be
WCYB game, so excited about that opportunity just to showcase our program as much as we can.
So we encourage you to come out, but if you can't come out, it will be on TV for sure, so catch it on there. But that's all we've got this week. Thank you all for watching this week's edition of the Marathon Quick Stops Eddie Spradlen Show. We look forward to seeing you next time here on Grassroots Media.